Good, Sheldon. We're taught here at Mille that everything we do starts with the drum. We pray to that drum 2 periods of time per year, and whether you go there or not, we're praying for you. We're praying for the future of our people, and so we recognize that drum and everything that we do. And right now, I'd like to recognize our drum keepers that are here. If you could just rise and please give them some recognition for the duties that they serve for the tribe. And then all those folks that sit on drums, if you could please rise as well. I'd like the group to recognize those that sit on our drums as well. And now, help me welcome for our invocation, Obazan Ahau Makawatazid to the stage. For our invocation.
I said, yes, I'm handsome, especially when I got no teeth. I was told to make this short, or I said I'd make it short because we have a lot on the agenda today here. Mi wite geni na basa denge o mani do kwa kabi tawaje na o kushu sunani. Ege ta mani chilio kama. Binda ga jigasa ta o kushu sunan ske mi eo pe pena moyan o kushuna beuyun. Eni bi mulini goyan ni gani na. Do even want me kunani pressure yo mani do kuma mungu mo. Ishi chigen. Etasha au sema mi wite geni na basta au maneto spemi ela na ganze binashke no wije maneto man kema nonga manetasha na mandamen yo manetasha na yo nuch ena abjitu da au nishnabe ene kaibete mende no ge pagine ko dane ko no yo ene kaiben etasha no Koewan in Tashaman no Keshkovaje no Ijan Savani. In Abjitu at Okeku, Kegeto Nika Awan, and no Ijan Sawan Mani Ayawa Wajan. Ketashma the Showen Dagazun. Montana Kita, we went to Mika Chikate Gebo, Jimmy Shway the son of Eo, Nikani Minan. In Tasha. Kaya au sema keni na pasata amani jo ma kine ya besh ke no wichmani toman kewu indowinje ke tabanan na tama koen na tama busiyan nishna peyoin wegen dan winje ka swen ke no daban yo no chigo akuzen waban nasago nishna be papa ma sima ke go ma ke ya de shama kasunul Mioke Ashen to Markean. Venus Day go, Manito Wakabi Tender, Manito Daki, Muguay, with the Geni Navasata, say mom. With the Wabano, Shavano, the Kabiano. He waited on the moment it came out to go, Manito, the Natama, Pusian. And Shana Berian. Take the Natama was so come hey, no keep telling the old Shana built upon the civil. You go got not takes them out the knee down the Suata. Oh, and Gaman, Naboke, oh, Shawshugish Bookwe, Nabo Nibaka, oh, Naboke, oh, Shawan, Naboke, oh, Musquan could do. Egish Natama was what the Namamu Chigiwata, the Nobin Gates the Wakama, Gegu Mana, Matayam, the Sunakama, nakita mo achke hayamak miya o nishanabe negayin kama danaki dasho kawin ko kina hengyo manidog ni tashama sik ni ko kawin ko cheta answer ya sa sina au sema in the kwatan kema besho ya ma o chesaga igan au manito ma ya apewin ta ma ke evin te koinen Mille ma ke ni na busata au sema Vina ta ma ke binish ke with him in the snakon so shkiking ni ko ti shko ke au Manito ke evin with him haya apewin ta ma ke the koinen den na se ma ke ta au shanabe Vina ta mo wan no mo den shanabe man au manito Vina ta ma ko semen ke yo te di shady way ma ke yo te way when nan de mishkwa ma ka ni ko se on ni shana be yan na ko ke ma te na ta ko ni ka te yo ke ya shi kino ma ko se on ni shana be yan ha ni ko ke ni na ko ni ke wa te te na wa pan te mo ate ko ka shi ni ko se on de na tu wa te ma ha ni ko ke ni na ko ni ke wa te yo Pegui tu chikio nishanabe papam sibin. Mio kami kusiam nishanabe mio. Kedini kan naman lo tena architecture mio kea. Centro tumakian. Ako kendo manito ma hinatashama kigan. Mio wako chituan wini shichigean. Inundo apuntaman iosa. Den mami chian wenchita gave it a copper and Shana Bewinchke de Bois. I am that. Den mami chita on Shanabe Nega. In the guy got my when she come out, cousins about the happening. Or they now spinning the sham got in the woman's screaming. Now go away to me to go see him to shake was him, the Machian, they went into Papa sailing. We went into two daughters in one of the women. Women on the man, me okay. Shouldn't go to my care. Nishkuma, Tarnaga, Gigit, how in the Shmigola, same way. Nina Pasata on Joe, Manituk. Tandruma Gage of Squadron Tashin Skera out. Shishkabel Smabe Mayatma. Kijum, Luigi Ketabanama. In the Nakian Napoke, my winch, and a winch so young. We went in the Napo, Sian. Gay and go, keep him out the city. Napama was water, didn't become water on the Q and the Ayamarka. They will say, get on the carpenter, in the carpenter, go on the Shanabe, no key second. Imam and Kama Kaya Muji, Chichigate, all these people by the Seaman. Neokea, Asian Turkana, Nako Kaya, and they were not going to sit down. Natamako was about and the Kamawat, they didn't Chigasa Tamash, Kutunikan, they go to with that pain was so, you know. Tageo Gamoon, the Natamako, what to know, Manitun. The Novin Kesawada. The Nayama Shave, the Semurata on the Shanabe, Gunesh Gate, Iminese, Imidaze. Get a show. They are Amanito, Squadron, Tashaman, Mitasha, Gana, Nico Ego take a Lina Pasota out. A Sema. We not Maganama, we can wait to Gazaminma. And it should not be when the woman is saying, may not run the Museum. I'm just going to translate a little. I remember being out in Hawaii and listening to the Maoris talk up there in their language. And couldn't understand one thing they said. That must be how these Anishinaabe feel when they hear somebody speak in a language and they don't know it. So I want to do that. Just some things I offered up, the tobacco, the drum pipe has been passed. So all those money that sit around at that drum, That's where a lot of our help has generated from the 11 drums that we have here on the reservation. But anyway, some of the things that I ask those money do, that people that we rely on to help us with this, our leadership to be helped to generate additional income, not for us not to be so reliant on the casinos, for them to find different business opportunities. And also our elected officials are able to work together in a good way, that they get along, they be efficient. If they don't, it's an issue that suffers. So also, I also recognize our chief executive, Damen, but also our band assembly who are here. They're hard-working people that they be helped to stick about what they do. And also we hear about a lot of the illnesses and the different sicknesses that are traveling the country that did not come here, that we be spared. And also, that the drugs and alcohol do not destroy us. Melanie is going to be talking about women who are pregnant and who are using, and in some way we can stop that from happening. I've seen these young kids come in for ceremonies. It really breaks your heart to see them, that they have all kinds of mental issues, all kinds of physical problems that result from their child, from their mother using. So it's really hard to see that. And also that the Ojibwe language come back. We've got some people that are working hard at the language, but we continue to do it, and it comes back strong. I've always said, those Manitoba will be happy to hear the language spoken across the land again. We can only be helped by doing that. And also, for our young people to find work, to have work opportunities. When you're not employed, it's pretty easy for depression to set in. So our leadership is able to find employment opportunities for them. And also, I was asking that our people are helped to eat the right foods. It's kind of the journey, the thing I've been working on. Not too successful this winter. Into exercise. But there's a lot of foods out there that we eat as an Anishinaabe that causes our diabetes, our heart problems, our high blood pressure, and go on and on. If we're able to stay away from that, that would be great. I said I wasn't going to talk too long. I don't think I did. English.
That was one of his short prayers, so. I didn't get a chance to introduce myself. I want to do that before we go on. Ojibwe, Indigenous, Joe Dangway, Junior, Enkidu, Maingan, and Duding, Nayashing, and Dunjaba. Nisawag, Nindanasak, Ajuana, Kodukwe, Minua, Ogama, Wabikwe, Minua, Ogama, Segwe, Miwitige, Oma, Mississauga, evening. I serve the Mille Band as the Commissioner of Corporate Affairs. It's a role that I'm proud to carry, and today I carry the role of Masters of Ceremonies, so I'll try to keep this show on the road and moving throughout the day. On behalf of the Mille Band, elected officials and appointed officials, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of your day to celebrate the State of the Band address and ceremony, so thank you. I'm pleased to welcome all of my fellow band members here today, friends and respected guests that are with us. And I would like the audience to please join me in recognizing our Mille Band elected officials, starting with Chief Executive Melanie Benjamin. Our Secretary Treasurer, Carolyn Golio. District 1 Representative, Sandra Lake. District 2 Representative, David E. Bobbin. District 3 Representative Harry Davis. I know they're going to get a shout out later on today, but I want to recognize my fellow commissioners as well. Our fearless leader, Commissioner of Administration, Catherine Coldrew. Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Samuel Moose. Commissioner of Education, Suzanne Wise. Commissioner of Natural Resources, Susan Claypool. Assistant Commissioner of Administration, Michelle Palamaki. Commissioner of Community Development, Percy Benjamin. And our Solicitor General, Todd Nathan. And I want to thank our visiting dignitaries that are here today. And there's a long list of folks that I'm going to recognize. First of all, we'll start with the top, the biggest figures in the gaming business, in my opinion. From the National Indian Gaming Association, Ernie Stevens Jr. A legend in his own right, Executive Director of the Midwest Alliance of Sovereign Tribes, Scott Beatley. Secretary of State, Steve Simon. I believe a Harvard grad, one of my heroes right now in the state senate, or state congressman, Minority Leader Representative Paul Thiessen. From U.S. Senator's Office, Franken, Lisa Foley, and Elena Peterson. From Senator Klobuchar's office, Greg Swanholm. From Congressman Nolan's office, Tom Whiteside and Enid Swagger. From the big city of Onamia, the mayor, Sean Willis. Also, Superintendent Bert Strasburg is with us from Onamia School District. From the city of Isle, Mayor Linda Dolan, Superintendent Dean Kastner, and Principal Brain Brown are also with us today. From our friends in Pine County, Commissioner Steve Holland, Sheriff Jeff Nelson, Matt Ludwig, Dave Minke, and Reese Frederickson. From the city of Aiken, Mayor Gary Tibbetts and Tammy Papp are here with us as well. From Central Lakes College, Mary Sam and Charles Black Lance are here with us. From Mille County, Commissioner Phil Peterson and Jenny Reynolds. From the Initiative Foundation, one of my early friends in my role, President Kathy Goswick is here with us. From the Department of Homeland Security, Bill Solenkas, Glenn Sanders, Clifford Van Leuven, Paul Coonsey, and David Monroe are here. It's probably making my uncle AJ really nervous right now. Post Commander at Camp Berkeley, Colonel St. Sauer is here with us as well. And from the Federal Executive Board of Minneapolis, Joseph Schmidt is here as well. And of course, our band members are here. Give yourselves a round of applause. of the Mille band of Ojibwe that couldn't be here with us, but have some representatives from Congressman Nolan's office. He wrote a letter, and we're going to have his staff member, Mr. Tom Whiteside, come up and read a letter that he has wanted to share a message with us today. So, Tom.
Hello and thank you. Just have a short letter from Congressman Nolan. Dear Chief, Executive Benjamin, elders, board members, band members, and friends. What an honor and pleasure it is to extend greetings to all of you on this occasion of great ceremony and importance for the band and for our region. Today, you come together to recognize and celebrate great progress and achievement, and look ahead to the challenges you face in managing a growing economy, in governing a people eager to put aside old problems, and move forward and seize new and exciting opportunities. To that end, you are blessed with great leaders, both present and future. It was just a year ago that I was proud to welcome Chief Executive Benjamin to be my honored guest for President Obama's State of the Union address in Washington. She has led an era of remarkable progress for the band, with much more to come. Over this past summer, your very own Sinjin, Kanasatega, joined my staff as the very first intern in our Native American Emerging Leaders Program. I hope he learned as much from us as we learned from him, and I am so excited to see what he and other members of his generation will help achieve here for Mille, as well as for future generations of Indian people throughout America. Without preempting Melanie's official address, let me just say that from my perspective, the state of the band is solid, progressive and successful, and that is due in no small part to every person in this room and the energy and dedication you devote to this community. I wish I could be with you, here with you personally today, but please know I am with you in spirit today and every day as we move forward together. I am honored to be your friend and honored to be your congressman. Sincerely, Richard M. Nolan, Member of Congress.
Thank you, Tom. I know last week Congressman Nolan had announced that his youngest daughter, Catherine, had been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. We know she's remarkably strong and determined to fight, so on behalf of the Mille Band, please convey our thoughts and prayers to the Congressman. And now we're going to test our multimedia here because we have a brief video from Senator Klobuchar that she wanted to share with us as well. So.
You know, I would much rather be there with you in person, but there's just a few things going on in Washington right now, and I'm honored to join you via video. I'd like to acknowledge Chief Executive Melanie Benjamin, Speaker Carol Bolio, the members of the Band Assembly, the Court of Central Jurisdiction, and all of the members and employees, and wish all of you the best in the coming year. This year marks the 31st annual State of the Band address. This yearly event demonstrates the strength of your system of government and your deep dedication to working together to improve the lives of your members. I'm so proud to represent a tribe that's been a national leader on issues including treaty rights, economic development, and sovereignty. I will continue to work in the Senate to ensure that tribal interests are kept in mind when we're considering legislation that affects you. That's the least we can do. I'm a sponsor of Senator Heidi Heitkamp's bill to create a commission on Native children to build on the strengths of Native communities. And I'm also a sponsor of the Native American Indian Education Act because it would help fulfill the federal mandate to provide higher education for Native Americans. We need to ensure that all students are receiving the education that they need to find good jobs, start their own businesses, and keep giving back to your community. I've always believed that Minnesota's strength comes from the diversity of our people, and so much of our rich history has been drawn from your culture and traditions. When I had my old job, which was Hennepin County Attorney, I worked so hard with the tribes all around the state on some of the legal issues that would come up. I learned a lot back then of the importance of sovereignty in your culture and your traditions. Then I became a senator, and it became even more important. The Mille Band and all of our Native American communities are an essential and vibrant part of life in our state. I will continue to be a partner with you, you know that, in making sure that the federal government fulfills the commitments that they have made to you. By the way, one thing, and some of your members have come by, if you're ever in Washington on a Thursday morning, either there for fun or there on business, when the Senate's in session, come join me at Minnesota Morning. We serve the entire state breakfast at 8:30 a.m. in my office. You'll be able to see some great tribal art, and we would just love to have you out there. If you're really lucky, maybe you'll come the day we serve spam puffs. We've been known to serve things with wild rice in them, and we'd love to have you there. But if you're not seeing me there, I will see you in Minnesota. Enjoy the rest of today's events. Stay warm. Miigwech.
All right, spam puffs. I hate spam, but I love spam a lot. All right, just a couple of things. We are going to have the national anthem sung by the Sweetgrass Girls coming up. Just a few housekeeping items. You see some things at your tables. The gifts of goodies are from Carol's Grand Salon, one of our band member-owned businesses at And then a calendar. It's a beautiful calendar. If you haven't got a chance to look through the photography, it's magnificent. That's from Ivy Daniel. She's a descendant of the Grand Portage Band of Ojibwe. Give her a round of applause. She's married to one of our band members as well. And then the centerpieces at the table, those beautiful flowers there, those are for the elders at the table. And you guys can do that out if you want to admit. All right, at this time, we have set up over here a police to introduce you. You've seen them probably, the Sweetgrass Girls Circle, Megan Sabu, Molly Sabu, Bella Naquanabi, Amanda Eagle, Madison Sam, Mackenzie Osborne, and Tierra Day. Please help me welcome them. With your round of applause. And the girls were looking for something to call themselves. They wanted to choose something that was representative and reflective of our community, so they chose Sweetgrass. And Sweetgrass is the hair of Mother Earth. It carries peace, harmony, and balance, so it's a fitting name for the girls. We're going to start before the anthem and sing the water song. This song tells the water we love and respect the water, and we are thankful for it. They are singing this prayer, water song, for the healing and purification of the water so that everything can live.
Yeah.
national anthem. All right, the State of the Band addresses are extremely important. It was only 2 years ago that Chief Executive Benjamin gave the first address of her term, where she gave each commissioner a directive for their department to help ensure the success of the Mille Band. We took that directive seriously at Mille Corporate Ventures, and since then, it's been an exciting ride, and we've had some decent progress in the past 2 years. And I'd like to take a few minutes to show you a video that recaps our projects this past year for the crowd. So roll that beautiful bean footage.
Mille Corporate Ventures is responsible for developing a strong, diverse, and sustainable economy for the Mille Band. We've had a busy and successful year. The band relies on our unique forms of economic development to support the health and welfare of our members. The success of our businesses is vital to maintain our sovereignty, language, history, and culture. With all of our businesses, we are continuing our movement to greater self-sufficiency with smart investments. Part of that movement was to restore the old Eddie's Resort. What once was a hotel that painted our business portfolio is now gone. In its place stands a newly completed 64-room hotel that will include 4 cabins, a restaurant, marina, and retail and bait shop. The new and improved Eddie's will capture the genuine spirit of the lake, providing employment opportunities and boost local tourism. We are excited for this project to be completed in the spring of 2015. Our St. Paul properties have been busy as well. The Crown Plaza is in the process of a major renovation to be rebranded as an Intercontinental Hotel. The work is well underway to upgrade rooms and public spaces. Being the owners of an Intercontinental Hotel is major news for the Mille Band. Our property will be only one of 168 in the entire world. Over at the Doubletree, we completed a lobby renovation and opened Rival House Sporting Parlor in June, the band's first off-reservation restaurant. Known for its wood-fired pizzas and a full menu of snacks and entrees, Rival House has garnered lots of media attention, including being named one of the top new restaurants in the Twin Cities area. We were proud to welcome Dawn Day and her sister Stephanie to Rival House to teach the executive chef and his team how to make fry bread. Mother's Day fry bread was listed on the menu as a grand opening special and received rave reviews. Not only are we committed to our hospitality industries, We also realize there is a great need in our local communities to create jobs. To support the hospitality arm of Mille Corporate Ventures, we are in the process of building a new commercial laundry facility. This business will be fueled by our connections in the hospitality industry and will initially meet the laundry needs of our hotels in St. Paul, Eddie's, in Gregson, Mille, and Hinkley. We're also in the midst of building a new medical office building in the city of Hinkley. We've partnered with Gateway Family Health Clinic and their subtenants, Thrifty White Pharmacy, and Northern Minnesota Eye Care, and a fitness therapy center. This opportunity will not only help meet the needs of our associates, but it's also part of our long-range plan for development in this area. In October, we acquired 2020 Brand Solutions in South St. Paul. For nearly 40 years, 2020 has been a source for companies to find promotional services. In fact, since its inception, 2020 has grown to become one of the largest promotional firms in America. We spend a great deal of resources on high-quality promotional items to use for our casino promotions. Traditionally, we purchase these items from other vendors, and now we have the ability to purchase them through our own company, which circulates our dollars back to our company. What once was a high-cost driver has now been turned into a profit center. This is the same type of investment as Sweetgrass Media. This last year, we printed more than 4 million pieces of mail. That's 2 million more pieces than last year. We ended our busy summer season with a celebration of family at our first ever Mille Corporate Ventures family golf outing. We were proud to host this event and bring together the community in a fun and active way. It was a multi-generational event. Dads and moms, aunts and uncles, grandparents and kids all enjoyed 9 holes of golf, contests, prizes, and refreshments. As for other hospitality investments, the team has been very busy evaluating opportunities and looking for the next potential deal. We know that will lead to a very strong portfolio that will bring a significant return on investment for generations to come. We are very excited about our latest investment, a 236-room Embassy Suites hotel in Oklahoma City. This world-known luxury brand is the market leader. Our hotel is a superior asset that is outperforming its competitors at a high level. It's close to the airport, the state capitol building, and the Chesapeake Energy Marina. We chose Oklahoma City because it is a strong, growing market. In fact, a new $252 million convention center is scheduled to open just 6 miles away from our hotel within the next 5 years. The impact of that development on our hotel will be significant. Throughout our continued efforts to grow, gaming has always remained a vital piece of our business portfolio. We've watched the trends of the gaming industry and the movement towards online formats. We've broadened our knowledge of the online business model and have been looking to make an investment to grow in this important space. We found a great partnership with Minneapolis-based 4Cubed. 4Cubed is a leader in the online gaming marketing industry. They service both U.S. regulated and global online gaming operators by creating interactive marketing solutions to drive traffic. Their affiliate marketing network, Poker Affiliate Solutions, is the largest of its kind in the world. We are proud to announce that we have made our first move into the online gaming industry by investing in 4Cubed. This investment not only allows Mille Corporate Ventures to enter the online gaming space without the establishment and operation of an online poker room, it also gives us insight into the online gaming market and will contribute to the band's growth. It is important for the band to keep moving forward and to diversify its revenue streams. It all comes back to sovereignty. By being able to control the investments, we control our destiny and do it the Mille Band way. The future is very exciting for all of us. Mille Corporate Ventures is
All right. Not too bad for our poor boy from the res and his team. So we had a good year. So on behalf of Mille Corporate Ventures, I want to thank you guys for your support, and we are committed to excellence, we're committed to progress, and we're going to keep working very, very hard to see this thing out. So thank you again. This doesn't, we work really hard, we're a very small piece of how it actually gets done. We need a really strong band assembly, and our next speaker is the speaker of that assembly, and her leadership has been just a breath of fresh air throughout the second half of the year. We had a good thing, obviously had a good thing going the last few years, but now just to see the transition's been fantastic. So I want to bring her up now to convene the third session of the 16th Assembly. Please welcome Honorable Secretary Treasurer Carolyn Polio.
Thank you very much for those kind words. Good morning and welcome everyone. As Speaker of Band Assembly, it is my duty under the Mille Band statutes to call the Band Assembly to order. So I'm going to do that right now. This is the third session of the 16th Assembly, so I'm going to do a roll call at this time.
District 1, Cindy Lee.
Here.
District 2 Representative David Alvin.
Here.
District 3 Representative Harry Davis.
Way over here.
All right, we have our full Band Assembly here. We have a quorum. As we all know, the only thing on our agenda today is the 31st Annual State of the Band Address, which will go over here in a few minutes. My remarks will be brief. It has been an honor to serve as the Speaker of the Band Assembly and the Secretary-Treasurer for the Mille Band since July of last year. I have to admit, there was a learning curve for me in this new job. Dave Ovid was also elected for the first time. But the fact that we were new did not slow us down. We hit the ground running. We were lucky enough to have Sandy Blake, who has served in the Band Assembly before there, and Harry Davis also served before, so them two being familiar with everything, how things move along smoothly. We learned how to work with each other fairly quickly, and we're still learning. So Harry, Eve, and I were sworn in at the beginning of July, and we joined Sandy. By the end of December, we had worked closely with the executive branch to review budgets. We came in at the middle of a 2-year budget cycle, but nonetheless, we had to get in there, review budgets, and make sure they're aligned for the next fiscal year. So we spent a lot of time doing that. We do that weekly. There were contracts to approve, department budgets to modify, and things to learn. We got through it, and we started writing on the next budget and made some plans for the future. We decided transparency is key. So we are working on a website, and we're happy to announce it should be implemented within the next few weeks. The website's going to have a lot of community information specific to the communities. Like for District 1, we'll be sharing news about a major renovation to the District 1 Community Center to include adding classrooms and health and fitness aspects to that. I welcome band members to maybe reach out to Sandy if you have ideas for the community center improvements in District 1. I'm happy to announce for District 2 that they plan their first annual powwow out in East Lake this coming summer at the end of July, I believe. We're really excited about that. District 3 is planning a community center in the Hinckley area. So those are community-based information that you're going to be able to find on the legislative website once that's up and running. For those who aren't computer savvy, you can always call the office, ask questions, and come and visit with us if you want to learn more about what we're doing in the legislative office. As the Speaker of the Assembly, I've learned that the job of the Band Assembly never really ends. We're always meeting with other departments, other band members, and outside folks and agencies. As the Band Secretary-Treasurer, it is my duty to ensure that the band's funds are protective and they are well invested. I meet weekly with the Commissioner of Finance to ensure that our fiscal matters are in order. When it comes to investing money, the band follows a strict investment policy with specific protocols and procedures. In all matters regarding band funds, Band Assembly and the Commissioner of Finance hold ourselves to the highest standards when making decisions. It's your money, and we want to make sure it's safe and productive for you, your grandchildren, and our futures in the next 7 generations. I do want to end on this note. The main thing that I've learned is the wisdom of the people who put the separation powers into place. Art Gabo, Doug Sam, and Marge Anderson, and others. They knew that the best way for government to work, for the legislative branch to work alongside the executive branch, They knew that we would disagree from time to time, but the key to our band's success is collaboration and discussion and debate. We also must deliberate, think about what we're doing and make sure we're doing it the right way. Finally, we need to come up with the right solutions together. So working for you as your elected leader, I plan on working hard with the other elected leadership, chief executive, commissioners, to make sure that we continue to make the best decisions for you, the Mille Band members. Chimi Witch, and look forward to the rest of the session.
All right, Witch, good job. We will now hear from the State of the Judiciary by the Honorable Chief Justice Renee Churchill.
Honorable Chief Executive, principal members of Band Assembly, my fellow Mille Band members, employees and guests, friends and family, welcome to the 2015 State of the Band Address. It's my honor to provide you with the State of the Judiciary Address as prescribed by band statutes. I currently serve as the Chief Justice, but I also serve as the Appellate Justice for District 3. The Honorable Clarence Boyd serves as the Appellate Justice for District 1, and the Honorable Brenda Moose serves as the Appellate Justice for District 2. Please stand and be recognized. We're currently looking to fill the position of the District Court Judge. I'd like to give a tremendous thank you to Honorable Richard Osborne for his contribution to the role of District Court Judge for the past 6 years. Thank you. Our court system routinely hears cases involving civil and criminal matters, which include, but not limited to, custody, adoption, guardianship, children in need of protective services, probate, child support, orders for protection, traffic, natural resources, and conciliation. The court does not hear juvenile matters because the statutes must be revised. As indicated in 2014, the courts are moving forward with our strategic plan and needs assessment. This is a 4-tier project in conjunction with band member legal aid, family services, and peacemaking program. The Center for Court Innovation is conducting the needs assessment and will assist in the strategic planning, as well as provide training and technical assistance. We're excited to re-engineer court operations so that we can continue to provide a forum where litigants can resolve disputes in a very independent, timely, and accessible manner. Since it is a 4-tier program, it is expected to take 18 months to 2 years to complete. In July 2014, the 4 band departments had a site visit with CCI to determine the action plan for the assessment, focus groups, interviewing community members, and departments, with more to come. The Mille Band trial court is nearing completion of the 2011 grant, which is expected to end in June of this year. Certain band statutes were rewritten, as well as cataloging and scanning of court files. Additionally, the guardian ad litem training conducted under the grant resulted in contracting with 3 guardian ad litems. The objectives outlined in the 2000 grant are also moving forward by improving the security throughout the courtroom and the court administration area, providing parents of Mille Band member children, and the training for legal fairness, and obtaining peacemaker. Our new peacemaker, Lori Bilas, please stand. Lori, are you here? Okay? Is helping to establish an improved model of the peacemaking program. The peacemaker will help settle disputes as a neutral third party in such cases as contested family matters, harassment, and civil cases. As a reminder, the court calendar was added as a courtesy and to further enhance the judicial webpage on the band's website. The calendar is updated weekly and subject to change based upon motions, continuances, or rescheduling. In 2014, the number of cases filed totaled 1,664, of which 80 cases had not been adjudicated. New child support cases were filed, totaled 219. The general civil cases totaled 1,300. 24 petitions for orders of protection were filed. And lastly, family debt cases totaled 114, which consisted of guardianships, custody, adoptions, divorces, paternity, name changes, and children in need of protective services. This year, the court system saw a spike in the area that we hold dear to our hearts, the impact of our Mille ban on our children and our future generations. 33 is the number of cases involving children in need of protective services. The 33 cases affected 93 of our band member children in 2014. 20 of the 93 represent the number of infants who were prenatally exposed and born with drugs in their system. 13 different types of drugs have been determined, and some of these infants were exposed to multiple types of drugs. Some withdrawals are so severe that some infants need morphine to ease their pain of the withdrawal symptoms. Unfortunately, when the court tries to implement lifestyle changes for the parents of these children by ordering drug and alcohol testing, these parents object to the testing based upon cultural grounds. In the past, the court has pointed out to the parents that usage of drugs and other alcohol is also not part of the Anishinaabe culture. These numbers are significant indicators that we as a tribe need to rethink our current models and how we handle drug and alcohol problems within our community. I urge the band and the community to reevaluate our programs to address the growing number of cases of drug and alcohol abuse for the sake of our young and generations to come. In closing, my goal for the tribal court is to continue to move forward with the strategic planning and needs assessment so that we can ensure fair and impartial justice as being administered. Once again, as the Chief Justice of the Mille Band Court of Central Jurisdiction, I urge the elected officials, appointed officials, band members, band employees, and all community members, including county officials, to work toward a common goal of making changes to end this increasing and alarming problem of addiction. Thank you for attending the 2015 State of the Band Address. Have a wonderful day and safe drive home.
Chief Justice. At this time, before we get into the next portion, to introduce our next speaker, I did want to ask her family to stand, if you will. Her siblings, son Clayton, grandchildren, nieces and nephews, if you could please stand. She does it because you guys help her do it. I mean, she's going all the time, and she's got something in her DNA that keeps her plugged into the national scene, plugged into the state scene, but also understands what's going on here at home. It's a beautiful thing to watch, and thank you guys for helping that happen. So with that, I'd like to, we will now hear the State of the Band address. And please welcome the Honorable Chief Executive, Melanie Benjamin.
Madam Chief Justice, judges of the Court of Central Jurisdiction, my fellow band members, and honored guests. It is my duty under band law and my honor as Chief Executive to deliver the 2015 State of the Band Address. In our culture, we count years from one winter to the next. Our new year began with the winter solstice when the sun stopped moving in the sky. An elder told me on that day, the money due and the sun stops and looks over all of us on earth to see how we are living. Like the sun, today is the time for us to look back on the last year, to talk about our hope for the future, and the issues and challenges and opportunities we face as an Indian nation. We must always keep in mind that the new year is a gift, just as every baby is a gift. Gifts must be cherished. Gifts that are fragile must be protected. We begin this new year with hope for better things. For many of us, life may not seem much different from a year ago, but there have been significant changes. The most important event from 2014 was our tribal elections. We say Mille to the outgoing officials and welcome in 3 new officials, proving again that our democratic system works. I've appreciated working with Speaker Folio and the new Band Assembly, Mille, for your service. I'd like to share a few of the brightest highlights from the executive branch last year. We expanded physician services to District 2 and 3. We added 2 Native physicians to our staff and 1 Native nurse practitioner. Wonderful work has been done on our oral history project, and new friendships were made between band elders and Dakota elders. We launched a wraparound program for band members and families in crisis. We created a bridge academy in the DNR to attract youth into natural resources careers. Important work was done to restore Ojibwe and Mackers Lake. The tribal college grew and expanded. We are very close to gaining federal approval to reopen Pine Grove Leadership Academy as a satellite of Miagin School. And I'd like to ask the Pine Grove Leadership students to stand up. To the staff for bringing the students. Some of those students, when I was at Pine Grove, were just kindergartners, and wow, they grew really fast and big. Happy to see them. Last year, I told our commissioners to work on programming to help homeless band members. I am pleased to announce that we have remodeled the old budget host on 169, and it is now available to those in need of transitional housing at a nominal cost. Also, last year at the State of the Band, I announced that our investigation of the Tribal Police Department was concluded, and we just received our law firm's recommendations for moving forward. The report called for the overhaul of our Tribal Police Department, and I am very pleased to report that this work is in progress and has gone well. It is being led by our interim Chief of Police, Jared Rosati. Chief Rosati has done a great job building trust with band members and has already built strong relationships with other county and tribal law enforcement agencies. The band just entered into a data sharing agreement with several other tribes, which should help all of us reduce crime. I am especially happy to announce, for the first time that I can remember, violent crime on the reservation has decreased. Our police officers have a difficult, sometimes dangerous job. To Chief Rosati and the other officers, miigwech for your commitment to making our community safe. As you saw in the video earlier, for our businesses, 2014 was a good year for the Mille Lacs Band. Purchasing the 2 hotels in downtown St. Paul has proven to be a wise decision. Both hotels performed very well this year. We now own an Embassy Suite in Oklahoma City, which should be equally successful. One of our elders made a suggestion, Al Hemming, that they would like to see the new property. So we will be hosting a trip to Oklahoma City later this year when the weather's a little warmer. We opened the House restaurant in St. Paul. Eddie's was torn down and is being rebuilt as an upscale resort. We purchased an internet marketing company. We are building a commercial laundromat. We are building a medical center in Hinckley. And while gaming revenue is down across the country and in the region, our 2 casinos still performed well. Overall, I am happy to report that the financial state of the band is strong. Before our first casinos opened in 1991, Chairman Art Gobble used to say that gaming was a tool, but not the solution. Part of Art's vision was that we would not be dependent on gaming. Art wanted us to invest gaming revenue into rebuilding our economy around many businesses. If gaming ever failed, he wanted us to have something to fall back on. Art wanted a diversified economy. For the past 24 years, that has been our goal. During that time, we explored different businesses, some successful, some not so much. Sometimes we kept businesses open, not because they were profitable, but because they provided a service and a job for band members. Today, for the first time in our history, every single business that we own is making a profit. Most important, although gaming declined across the nation this year, we do not have to reduce our budget for band member services because our non-gaming businesses did well. While some of the other tribes must cut services while gaming declines, the Mille Band of Ojibwe no longer depends on gaming alone. We still have unmet needs, but due to careful, smart planning, the long-term financial outlook for the Mille Band has never been brighter. In a way, Art's goal has been achieved. To Art Gobble's family, I want to say I am so grateful to have a chance to work with Art, to be mentored by him. I am also proud to have 2 of his grandchildren, Chastity and Christopher, working in my office. Miigwech to the Gobble family for your contribution to our community. We all stand on the shoulders of those who come before us. So I also want to acknowledge the dedication, the hard work, and the commitment of former Chairman Marge Anderson. Marge devoted her life to this band and worked very hard to carry on Art's vision, which she was a part of creating. Miigwech to Marge's family for supporting her work and her sacrifice for the future of the band. In many ways, things have never been better. Today, many of us have nicer homes and better jobs than ever before. As Kurt Kelf used to say, you can tell things are getting better because you don't hear those cars anymore when they're pulling into the parking lot. Any band member can afford a college degree if they want one, and they can get a master's degree or become doctors or lawyers. This spring, 2 Mille Band members will graduate from law school. As a government and in business, we have come very far, very fast. But the state of the band is just not about economics. As chief executive, it is my job to look beyond the ledger because our community is so much more than that. We have used our tribal sovereignty to achieve great things: self-governance, gaming, and treaty rights. But when we look long and hard at our community, every one of us in this room knows that we still face serious challenges. There are still threats to our families, our children, and our unborn future generations. A few weeks ago, band members received a letter from myself, Speaker Bolio, and Representative Blake. This letter was about a painful issue that has become a crisis for the Mille Band of Ojibwe. The number of our babies born addicted to opiates. This is currently the single greatest threat to the future of the Mille Band of Ojibwe. Minnesota has the highest rate of Native American opiate-addicted babies in the United States. It was heartbreaking to learn that we are one of the hardest hit tribes in the state. In late December, I held a series of elder meetings in each district, and we discussed this crisis. The elders were deeply moved and extremely concerned. One thing all agreed upon: babies are our most precious gift from the Creator, and our main job in life is to protect that gift. I asked for feedback and ideas. I have been amazed by the many suggestions from the elders, expressions of support, and commitment to do whatever they can to protect our babies. Of the hundreds of ideas, there were a few common themes. First, protecting new life begins before a woman becomes pregnant. Our little ones are learning right now how to be parents from the adults who take care of them. Second, we all know women don't become pregnant on their own. Our young men are responsible for those lives as much as the woman, and have a duty to help the baby come into this world healthy. As families, we must do more to hold all of our sons and grandsons accountable for raising, caring for, and providing for their children. Third, protecting the new sacred life is also a community responsibility. Everyone has a role in stopping this epidemic, especially the family and the elders. I was told again and again, the family members know who is using and they know who is selling. Many elders said that people who think they are protecting their family by not turning them in are just as responsible for these babies as those selling the drugs. It is not enough for the government to have a zero tolerance policy. Every family in this room must have a zero tolerance policy. Fourth, elders said that the family must do what it takes to get the woman help. If a woman gets medical help early, her chances of having a healthy baby are much higher. Also, I'm told that many of these girls have no support systems and feel totally alone. Those suffering from addiction often isolate themselves. It can be hard to get involved when somebody is pushing you away, but we must. Fifth, elders have said that this is a community-wide problem that requires community-wide response. We are working right now to plan a band-wide summit about this issue this winter, and we will include sessions for our youth as well. Our local Mille Band chapter of Women Empowering Women for Indian Nations, or WeWin, has taken a leadership role in organizing this conference. Miigwech to all the WeWin members for their commitment to stopping this epidemic. They are passionate women who care deeply for our future, and anyone wishing to join them should contact Shelley Diaz. Of all the suggestions, however, there was one common theme that came up time and time again. We must, as families, as a community, and as a government entity, unify around our values, our culture, and our language. We need our culture in order to live healthy lives. I want to speak a bit about why this problem has hit us so hard. In 2015, we still deal with the aftermath of 150 years of attempts to destroy our culture and our identity. Forced assimilation, attempted genocide, relocation, and boarding schools might be things of the past, but the ghosts of these policies still haunt us today. Science has now proven what our elders say is true, that we have blood memory. This means that we carry the feelings and the memories of our ancestors in our DNA. We can feel the hurt that they felt when they were removed from their parents and placed into boarding schools. We can feel how sad they were to be separated from their brothers and sisters and not being able to speak their language. People don't decide to ruin their lives with alcohol and drugs. Those who are addicted are trying to fill an emptiness inside of them. They are hurting inside. They are trying to numb the pain. That, our elders say, is caused by historical trauma. Maybe we cannot ever be free of this blood memory, but we can begin to heal ourselves and heal our children by reclaiming our language and culture. Our elders say that taking care of our Anishinaabe spirit is the only way to ease the pain. I was told by a spiritual leader that a child's spirit asks permission for the money due to come to this earth, and sometimes chooses who her parents will be. He said the money due love every single one of us, all the same. And if they go to ceremonies and are raised in our culture, they will understand how special they are from a young age. They will be less at risk when they are teens, and they will pass this love to their own children. Our spirits need to hear our language, to be in ceremonies, and to live our culture. We can regain our strength as people, because our strength as Anishinaabe is also a part of our blood memory. Our bodies remember who we were before the great trauma, and our strengths are also part of our history. How do we find this strength? In federal Indian law, tribal sovereignty is about territory, our inherent right to govern ourselves. But the solution to this problem is, and always has been, a kind of sovereignty that we do not have to defend, because it can never be taken away by Congress or the court. It is not dependent on federal grants or gaming revenue or permission from any other government. It's a kind of sovereignty that we can only lose if we choose to give it up. It is called cultural sovereignty. Cultural sovereignty is ancient and predates the arrival of non-Indians. Cultural sovereignty is our inherent right to use our values, traditions, and spirituality to protect our future. It goes much deeper than our legal sovereignty, because it's a decision to be Anishinaabe, to not just protect a way of life, but to practice living Anishinaabe every day. Cultural sovereignty is practiced through ceremonies, through relationships, and especially through language. It is what unites us, inspires us, and gives us hope for the future. Before gaming, we had 80% poverty, but we were Anishinaabe strong, and our culture was thriving. Today, our cultural survival is threatened. Our elders say the loss of culture is what is causing people to harm themselves and their family. When people receive negative messages about their identity over many generations, they begin to internalize and believe those things which are lies. And they believe those terrible things. They can act in terrible ways. Our elders say that it is our culture, our ceremonies, and our language that can overpower these negative messages, because our spiritual beliefs teach our children how much the money do love them, learn how special they are, and how beautiful they are. There is no federal policy anymore forcing our children into boarding schools. There is no laws against us practicing our religion. Our cultural existence cannot be lost or destroyed unless we allow it. Through cultural sovereignty, we can reclaim our strength and protect the gift of our children. Think for a minute about the elders we have lost from the recent generation that practiced cultural sovereignty. Jim Clark, Rainey Boyd, Mille Benjamin, Malcolm Eagle, just to name a few. When we look at the way they lived their lives, these people did not care a lot about money. They did not care about better cars or nicer homes. They knew who they were. They did not have to spend time thinking about culture. They were too busy living it. This brought them contentment. They didn't have to learn about their cultural identity because it defined everything about them. These people, and there are still many among us, carry their culture with them. But this is not just about age. Technically, I'm an elder now. I can guarantee you there is nothing magical that happens when a person turns 55. Although I wish there were. We do not become wise overnight. We have young elders who do not know who they are. But in contrast, we also have young adults who have devoted their lives to living Anishinaabe strong who do. Being Anishinaabe strong is a state of mind, body, and spirit, and emotion. And everyone in this room can have that. We can all start now. Those who truly live our culture, regardless of age, are the soul of our nation. For too many of us, there is something missing. Our political and economic universe might be governed by federal Indian law, but we are defined by our moral vision and culture as Anishinaabe people. If we save our culture, we save ourselves. We save our children, and we save future generations. Just like our schools teach students how to study and think in the traditional Western way of education, we need to reteach ourselves how to think, act, and be the Anishinaabe strong of traditional elders and of our young people who live Anishinaabe culture. A few young people come to mind. Eldon Goodsky. Would you mind standing for just a minute? Oh, okay. Eldon Goodsky is a 17-year-old band member from East Lake who attended NCAI National Youth Summit. He has been working to stop the Sandpiper Pipeline project. Last summer, Winona LeDuc convinced Eldon and his brother Harvey to join their group on a 10-day horseback ride to Bemidji. Winona said that Eldon and Harvey sang for the group every day and were the heart of this journey. Eldon also attended an open house in McGregor held by Enbridge, the company that wants to build a pipeline. Those corporate executives did not expect to see a young man in full regalia speaking for the water when Newman and Earth attend their open house. Eldon was exercising his cultural sovereignty. Is a 16-year-old band member from St. Paul. No one in her family danced, but with their support, she taught herself how. Now she teaches dancing every Wednesday night at the American Indian Center in Minneapolis to anyone who wants to learn. She also serves as a peer mentor for other Native youth and is learning Ojibwe. Trina is exercising her cultural sovereignty. Sinjin Knasatega and Eric Robertson, who will graduate from law school this spring. Both were inspired to become attorneys because they wanted to make a difference. This is what happens when you have strong families who teach the importance of culture, our values, and serving the community. Those families were practicing cultural sovereignty and how they raised their sons, and I'm sure that one day these young men will be the leaders of the Mille Band. I also think of our little ones who are learning Ojibwe in school. I tried to whisper in her ear, but I did say something to her, and the teacher gave me a scolding look and held up a sign that said, "No English." That teacher was teaching cultural sovereignty. Upon the advice of spiritual leaders and elders, I am convinced that we must practice cultural sovereignty all day, every day, if we are to protect the gift of our future generations. This is the work of individuals and families, but band government has a role. For the executive branch, that begins with our commissioners. To fulfill my legal duties as chief executive under band statutes, I'm required to spend much of my time conducting relations with other governments. I provide leadership to the commissioners, but under band statutes, only the commissioners have the authority to run the programs. I give them broad directives, but they make the decisions. These are big jobs. And I would like to introduce my candidate to you now and ask that each of you stand and please stay standing. Catherine Coleswood, our Commissioner of Administration. Michelle Palamecki, our Assistant Commissioner of Administration. Samuel Moose, our Commissioner of Health and Human Services. Suzanne Wise, our Commissioner of Education. Percy Benjamin, our Commissioner of Community Development. Susan Claypool, our Commissioner of Natural Resources. And finally, our Masters of Ceremonies today, Joseph Nagle, our Commissioner of Corporate Affairs. I also invite Todd Mather, our Solicitor General, and John Gerner, our Commissioner of Finance, to stand. We're not always very good at thanking those who have the courage to take on leadership positions, but each of these people works hard for the band. To all of you, miigwech for all that you do. As Chief Executive, my role is to assign commissioners' goals. And so for 2015, I have the following directives for the commissioners. To the Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Samuel Moose. You have your work cut out for you. But let me be clear, the opiate crisis is everyone's issue. I hereby direct my entire cabinet to work with you as the lead in fighting this epidemic. For 2015, I direct you to work with our spiritual leaders to develop a culturally based prenatal program for pregnant women and their partners, with a focus on our spiritual and cultural traditions around childbirth and parenting for both parents. I further direct you to develop a program for expectant mothers who need help with addiction, so as to provide the greatest chance of delivering a healthy baby and recovering as a family after the baby's birth. We need a program for foster care families to help them meet the spiritual and cultural needs of the children they take care of. We need an extensive cultural parenting program for those trying to be reunited with their children. And we need more social workers. With an average of 40 client cases per social worker, our staff are spread too thin. Finally, several years ago, you and I developed a proposal that would provide one-stop services for families in crisis, but it was not adopted at that time. Last November, Speaker Bolio and I, with other band officials, toured a center in Arizona that achieves that goal. I direct you to bring back our proposal and work with the band assembly and the courts to see if we can make this happen here. To the Commissioner of Natural Resources, Susan Claypool. Our ancestors made great sacrifices to protect our land and preserve our rights. It was Art Gobble's dream to restore the reservation. I direct you to continue work toward the dream through purchasing lands important to the band so we can pass on that gift to our children. We were here taking care of Mille Lacs Lake hundreds of years before Mille Lacs Lake became a sports fishery, and we will be here hundreds of years from this day. Nobody cares more about the lake than the Mille Lacs band of Ojibwe. Continue to partner with the state to restore the health of our walleye population. The Creator gave us the sacred gift of Manuman, our wild rice. While our nation's attention has been focusing on Keystone XL pipeline, Enbridge has been quietly building capacity to pump even more oil than Keystone right now through a path that could harm Big Sandy Lake and the Bryce Lake watershed. Your top priority in 2015 is to make sure we do everything in our power to protect this gift from the harm that could result from pipelines or mining. To the Commissioner of Education, Suzanne Wise, knowledge is a gift that once given can never be taken away. For your position, exercising cultural sovereignty means that above all else, your top priority for 2015 must be our tribal schools and the children attending them. We must see improved attendance, performance, and graduations in the school that we run. Teachers have such a hard job. Our staff are committed, but they need more support to do the work that they've been trained to do. We also need our best teachers to feel secure and want to work here. We should never have teacher vacancies like we had recently for so long. Our schools must be the kind of schools that teachers compete one against one another to get into. I direct you to develop a teaching recruitment plan to attract and keep the best teachers, especially those who speak Ojibwe. Make sure our schools can afford to compete with the best schools in the state and the nation. To the Commissioner of Community Development, Percy Benjamin, you have a very big job. Perhaps the biggest hurdle is outdated policies that no longer work for the band or the band members. Just because we've always done something the same way doesn't mean it's the right way. I direct you and your staff to work with the Commissioner, Klobuchar, and the Housing Board to overhaul community development policies. Deliver a proposal to the band assembly that streamlines our policy to better work for band members. We know it can be done. A great example is a recent change doing away with the interest for home mortgage loans. We wage to you, Commissioner Klobuchar, and the Housing Board for that excellent work. We need more creative changes like that. To protect the gift of the family, we must make sure band members have safe neighborhoods. I further direct you to work on a plan that will provide more healthy recreation for kids and youth in District 2 and 3. To the Commissioner of Corporate Affairs, Joe Nagranavy, your biggest challenge in 2015 is to create well-paid jobs for band members in District 2. While our businesses are doing well, we need economic development for the East Lake area. We need creative solutions to address this challenge. To the Commissioner of Administration, Catherine Kolscher, and Assistant Commissioner of Administration, Michelle Palamaki, your challenge may be the biggest of all. Historically, for the Anishinaabe, certain people served as civil chiefs, war chiefs, and spiritual leaders. But when decisions needed to be made, our chiefs always consulted with our spiritual leaders. This is why I created the Cultural Board last year. Our elders said that we needed to return to operating our government in a way that is respectful to our culture, traditions, and language. The First Amendment of the Constitution guarantees separation of church and state, but this is a non-Indian idea. When the Congress wrote the Indian Civil Rights Act in 1968, they left this out on purpose. There is no requirement of separation in states for tribal governments. As elected officials, many of us consult with spiritual leaders when we are looking for solutions. But to exercise cultural sovereignty, we need to bring back spirituality back into our government at all levels. We do not need to look back in time 100 years to find examples. We only need to look back 15 years ago to our 1837 treaty rights case. Joy Shigley reminded me of this recently when she retold this story. We had brilliant attorneys and a strong case, but we did not rely on the non-Indian system alone. We asked for help from the Gitche Money Due. And with other tribes, we organized the Wabanung Run, which included a group of the Anishinaabe runners who would carry the Eagle staff to Washington, D.C. The day before the run began, a ceremony took place. The pipe was passed around, cedar was put in the runners' shoes, and prayers were said for the runners as they made their way to D.C. Spirit dishes were put out at each ceremonial dance in the spring and the fall throughout this time. A speaker for each ceremonial drum asked for help for the money dues that surround our homes, for the runners, and guidance for the Supreme Court judges. A pipe was gifted to us from the Lakota Nation in South Dakota to help us in our struggle. A delegation of Lakota came and presented the pipe to us, and we continue to use it today to help us make decisions that will affect the generations ahead of us. During the Wabanung Run, there were sweat lodges, fasting, and ceremonial drums that remained open during the entire time for the runners, for the judges, and for our people. Each day, for 9 days, the prayers went out to the Supreme Court justices for their well-being and their families. The Eagle staff was delivered in a fashion as old as Anishinaabe history by runners. At the end of the run, a pipe ceremony was held, giving thanks for the delivery of the Eagle staff. The day of the Supreme Court hearing, spiritual leaders, advisors, and lawyers entered the building with the Eagle staff. Our lawyers, as told by the spiritual advisors, wore cedar in their shoes. A Medela song ended the ceremony. On March 24, 1999, the Supreme Court handed down their decision. The Mille Band won. We retain our rights to hunt, fish, and gather as outlined in the 1837 treaty. That was cultural sovereignty. In the past, when we practiced cultural sovereignty alongside legal sovereignty, we have achieved great things, like treaty rights victory, and we waged to Joyce for sharing that story. We need to make sure our traditions and culture are a part of everything we do as a government. And that is what I'm directing all of the executive branch to do today. Teaching non-Indian employees how to be respectful of our culture is important. But spiritual leaders are telling me that we have band member employees who may need this help more. There are many band members who didn't grow up with the culture, they didn't attend ceremonies, and may not have an Indian name, but often this is not by choice. I am told that many have emptiness inside of them and can feel their Anishinaabe spirit longing for nourishment. Maybe they just don't know how to begin or how to ask. These band members are from all walks of life. Some are young, some are old. Some are financially successful, some are unemployed, or may suffer from addictions. Some of these band members are highly educated and may be in leadership positions. If we are going to save our culture, those who are leading our way to the future must practice cultural sovereignty as well. Think about the story of our treaty rights case. We need that back. Commissioner Klobuchar and Palmaki, your top priority this year is to work with our spiritual leaders, our elders, and our culture board, and follow their advice on how to bring our culture back into our daily government operations in a way that respects our values. Maybe that means that every band member employee will be offered a meeting with one of our spiritual leaders if they want, to talk one-on-one about how they can begin to live Anishinaabe strong if they choose to and are not already. Our spiritual leaders have said they would be so happy to do this. They will help any band member who wants connecting with our culture. Maybe that means making all meetings begin in a good way with an offering of Sema. That's how meetings used to begin. Maybe that means creating a program for employees to learn Ojibwe. Wonderful teachers like John Benjamin are available to teach our employees. John, stand up, I recognize you. I require my staff to attend language class with John once a week. I'm supposed to be there too, but I missed quite a bit. Our spiritual and traditional leaders will know how to help, but your role is to follow their lead. To all the commissioners, rely on the band's strategic plan, which is actually all about cultural sovereignty. By the end of the first quarter, I want a strategic plan from the cabinet detailing how cultural sovereignty will be implemented in the executive branch. Commissioner Klobuchar, it is your task to ensure that this is completed. As a band, we have challenges, but we also have opportunities. I saw amazing things in 2014. I saw 5,000 American Indians coming together with powerful native pride to protest the racist name of a professional football team. I saw a new band assembly get elected and come together as a governing body, and I have seen them working hard every day for the betterment of the community. I saw Anishinaabe and non-Indian people from many places and bands coming together to fight pipelines and mining that threatens Mother Earth. It is amazing what happens when we come together, in big groups or small ones. There is one moment from last year that I recall. Nora Benjamin was driving home and saw a young eagle that was wounded on the side of the road. She called our DNR staff, who brought him to an animal hospital. A few weeks later, the eagle was well again. A few of us were at Capio as Henry Sam said a prayer for the Migizi was released and he flew away. As chief executive, my duties are defined by the band statutes and the Minnesota Chippewa Tribe Constitution. My duty as an Anishinaabe woman are not really written any place. When it comes to matters of culture and spirituality, I am the same as everyone else. I go to a spiritual leader and I ask if they will take my sema. I ask for their advice, and I understand they expect me to follow their advice. What can I do as a head of the executive branch? I can ensure that band member employees have a chance to consult with spiritual leaders if they want to do so. I can make sure that our employees take classes in language and culture. I can also give our spiritual leaders the place and time they need to reach out to band members. I gave Obazan some sema today for a special purpose. I am seeking guidance for all of us, as individuals, as families, and as an Anishinaabe band. I cannot stand up here and pretend that I have all the answers because I do not. The answers come from a much higher power. But I do know this: we cannot survive as a people until we renew the cultural sovereignty that lives within each of us. As band members, we have many things in common. We were born Anishinaabe. We were each given gifts from the Creator and given a special purpose. It is our responsibility to find out what that purpose is. Part of the purpose includes learning our language. Part of the purpose is to learn our culture. Part of the purpose is to keep our cultures and our traditions. Part of the purpose is to preserve a way of life, and part of the purpose is to pass these things along to our children and our grandchildren. Today, let us begin this new year by seeking the peace and justice that is inside all of us. Let us begin the process of restoring our cultural sovereignty to our clans, our families, ourselves as individuals. Let us work together to protect the gift of our youngest band members. Our babies are the keepers of cultural sovereignty for the next generation. Let us work together to protect the gift. Like the Mickey who needed help and prayers, our community needs to rely on our culture in order to get well and be set free. We have a long journey ahead of us and many miles to go. We will need to come together. Let us begin this journey together. Miigwech.
We'll end the State of the Band with an honor song, and just thinking about this topic of cultural sovereignty, that this song it's an important song, and Pete asked me to share a little something that was given to us by now Jesus, Jim Clark, taught us this song. This is a community song specifically for the Mille Band. So it's important that we recognize that he wanted this song sung every year at this event. It has been, and it will be forever. So turn it over to Little